How's it going, everyone? We're out on the water and it's beautiful out. It's a little bit windy, but it's not too bad. And if this summer you're looking to go out and fish on the Minnesota border waters, stay tuned. Let's go over some rules and regulations. First, let's take a look at the Wisconsin and Minnesota border waters. So if you're looking to do any fishing on the border waters of Minnesota, there's a few things you have to know. One, the regulations are different for inland than it is for border waters. And also, each bordering state to Minnesota has its own regulations. For example, the border waters between Wisconsin and Minnesota is different from the border waters of Iowa and Minnesota. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So speaking of Wisconsin, let's take a look at the Minnesota Fishing Regulations Handbook. On page 64, you can see that this is for Wisconsin and Minnesota. And if you look here, it says 2 lines with a single lure or bait on each line are permitted. If fishing with 1 line, you may use 2 baits. So for any Minnesotans who are fishing on the Wisconsin border, you may use up to 2 lines. And if you may know, inland waters, you may not use 2 lines. In this case, you may use 2 lines. And also, even if you are on the Minnesota side, you could fish 2 lines. And if you're on the Wisconsin side, you can fish 2 lines. And you don't need a Wisconsin fishing license if you're on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota. But any other lake inside of Wisconsin that's not connected to the border water, you may not fish. And you must have a Wisconsin fishing license. And if we scroll down a little bit more here, we can see seasons for each fish. The St. Louis River and the St. Croix River has its own regulations and seasons, also along with the Mississippi River. So with the Wisconsin border, there's 3 parts. The St. Louis River up by Duluth, and then the St. Croix River that starts in, I don't know where it starts, but I'll go ahead and put it right here. Starts there and comes down to the Taylor's Falls Dam. Usually there's regulations between Taylor's Falls Dam north and Taylor's Falls Dam south. And if we look here, we can see that the St. Croix River has a opening season for May 1st for walleye and sauger. St. Louis River is May 15th. Mississippi River is continuous. So that means in Prescott, where the Mississippi meets the St. Croix River, from that point down, everything there is continuous. That includes pool 2, 3, 4, and so on, all the way to pool 8. And we can see that that is continuous for walleye and sauger, continuous for largemouth bass, perch, catfish, except for flathead, which is open April 1st to November 30th. Roughish, white bass, all continuous. St. Croix River largemouth bass is May 29th, and that's upstream. St. Croix River downstream, also May 29th. And then we can see St. Croix River upstream. They have a catch and release only season, which is September 13th. Then the St. Louis River, May 29th as well. St. Louis River for pike, May 15th. St. Croix, May 1st. Perch, looks like it's continuous as well for all of those. Catfish, same thing, continuous. Flathead is April 1st till November 30th. Bullhead, roughish, and white bass, all continuous. Crappies, continuous. Rock bass is continuous. Sunfish. Paddlefish, no season. Lake sturgeon, they have their own here. Lake sturgeon, so each part has their own regulations here. Looks like for St. Louis, Mississippi River, and the Red Wing Dam down to Lake Pepin, March 1st, April 14th, June 16th till April 14th. Those are catch and release only. Mississippi River above Red Wing Dam to the mouth of the St. Croix. So that's Red Wing all the way up to Prescott. That is June 16th to March 1st. Catch and release only. St. Croix River above the Taylor's Fall Dam, June 16th, March 1st. Catch and release only. And then St. Croix River below Taylor's Falls, June 16th to September 3rd. And then September 3rd to the 30th is per calendar year. And then back into October until March, catch and release only. And then shovel nose sturgeon, there's season here, catch and release only. St. Croix River and Mississippi River above Red Wing Dam. And then Red Wing Dam below is continuous. Next stop, let's take a look at North Dakota. North Dakota, pretty simple here. 2 lines are permitted and 2 hooks are permitted on each line. So you can have 2 lines out, 2 rods out with 2 hooks or baits on each line. So that's pretty awesome. You don't really get that inland with Minnesota. So being able to fish the border water, that's pretty awesome. And then if you look, basically everything is continuous season here with the possession or size limits. And then with lake sturgeon being the only one with a season, let's take a look at South Dakota here. Anglers may use 2 lines with up to 3 lines per hook. So that's another hook per line for South Dakota. That's pretty awesome as well. We don't usually get that inland with Minnesota. We can't use 2 rods inland in Minnesota, but if you're on the border waters, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Iowa, you may. And then let's take a look at the species here. Pretty self-explanatory. Almost everything is continuous as well, except for pike spearing, and also flathead catfish, April 1st through November 30th. Unprotected fish, such as carp, sucker, red horse, sheephead, buffalo, burbot, bowfin, gar, and white bass. I know there's a lot of white bass lovers out here. It's continuous and no size limit. No possession limit, no size limit, which is great, but not so great here. Something with Big Stone Lake. There's a lot of white bass that we could keep. It's been getting to the point where there's not too much left. But now let's go to Iowa. Again, pretty self-explanatory, page 60. Anglers may use up to 2 lines with 2 hooks per line. So once again, that's awesome. 2 lines per angler with 2 hooks on each. And then once again, this is pretty self-explanatory here. Almost everything is continuous except for muskie and flat. And then there you go. Everything else is continuous with its possession limits on the side here. All right, and then now we can take a look at Canada. There's a lot that goes on with Canada. I've never fished the Canada border before, so I'm not gonna say too much about it, but you know, once again, just like the other border waters, they have their own regulations for each piece here, and they do break it up pretty well here. As you can see, they have regulations for Lake of the Woods, for 4 Mile Bay, Rainy Lake, Rainy River. So yeah, take a look at that. You know, if you're fishing the Canada border water, there's a lot of good information here. I will go ahead and put the link down below in the description for this here. It's a PDF that you could download right onto your phone, so you can always have it. No need for the print. Definitely, I'll go ahead and put it down below in the description for the Minnesota fishing regulations handbook here. But anyways, there you go. Hope you learned something today. Hope this was useful to you. Hope you'll have a better experience fishing on the border waters. Once again, you do not have to have a fishing license for the state that Minnesota is bordering. For example, if you're fishing on the border of South Dakota and Minnesota, you do not need a South Dakota fishing license. You can still have a Minnesota fishing license and fish both sides and fish the same body of water. And that goes for Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Iowa. Pretty sure Canada has their own regulations, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. Of course, always make sure you take a look at the handbook here and make sure your questions are answered. And if I've missed anything, let me know down in the comments below. I'm always learning, and I hope we're all learning together for a better fishing experience. So for everyone fishing this year in border waters, hope you have fun, hope you learn something, hope you stay safe. And once again, thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And if this video has helped you, make sure you share it as well, and hopefully it'll help others as well. So let's all stay safe and good luck on the water.